Chapter 1782, Is Barking All You Can Do? Published by Divine Tao Library. Translator, Salavan and Pew Pew Lasergun. Editor and proofreader, Leo of Zion Mountain and Dale Ligerkeys. Hey hey hey. When the three parties were locked into a temporary stalemate, Yang Kai suddenly let out a muffled laugh. Zilong frowned, turned his gaze, and asked in a disgruntled tone, "Boy, what are you laughing at?" Yang Kai just shot him a sidelong glance without making a sound. Zilong narrowed his eyes as a cold light flashed across their depths. A trivial origin realm junior dared ignore him. It was the epitome of not knowing how high the sky was and how thick the earth was. Although he was annoyed in his heart, Zilong was still able to endure it, but Zidong, who was next to him, immediately called out in response to Yang Kai's disrespectful conduct, "Brat, did you not hear my father ask you a question? Are you deaf?" Yang Kai shifted his eyes, pretended to clean his ear, then scoffed towards Zilong and Zidong. "If he asks something, I have to answer. What thing is he? What thing are you?" Yang Kai had neither grievance nor grudge with Zilong and Zidong, but Zilong had still launched a sneak attack against him just now. If it were not for his strength being out of the ordinary, Yang Kai would already be dead. The other party was a second-order origin king but still disregarded his status and launched a sneak attack against him. This annoyed Yang Kai greatly, and seeing Zidong's domineering and arrogant attitude did nothing to improve his mood. As such, Yang Kai did not bother being polite with this father and son duo. Hearing his rude words, Zilong's murderous intent flared up momentarily while Zidong angrily sneered, "You're finished. This young master hasn't met anyone as crazy as you in a long time. Just you wait, in half an hour, this young master will personally take your life." "Your name is Zidong, right?" Yang Kai squinted at him with an expression of disdain. "I wonder if you've heard a certain saying." "And what's that?" Zidong came to look at Yang Kai with a sneer. "Dogs that can bite, don't bark. Dogs like you who can only yell can't bite." Yang Kai grinned meaningfully. "You dare curse me?" Zidong Lai's face suddenly became cold as his tone dropped noticeably. "So what if I cursed you?" Yang Kai laughed as a look of madness filled his face and he continued to taunt, "Hit me then. Come on, hit me. If you're not a lame dog, come over here and kill me." Zidong's lungs almost exploded when he heard this. He was the young master of Purple Star, a noble existence with incredible cultivation for his age. No matter where he went, he would receive lavish praise and anyone whom he found unpleasant to the eye would be dead before the next sunrise. When had he ever been forced to endure such humiliation? Under any other circumstance, he would have rushed out to teach Yang Kai a harsh lesson long ago, but in this damned place, this medicine valley covered in seven-colored radiant light. No matter how much he wanted to torture and kill Yang Kai, he could not. He did not have the ability to rush through the seven-colored radiant light to where Yang Kai stood. He had never encountered such a suffocating situation before and was extremely angered by it, wishing he could rush out and beat Yang Kai to a pulp immediately. Zidong glared towards Yang Kai viciously, his eyes practically spraying hatred and anger. "Idiot." Yang Kai snorted coldly as he snorted towards Zidong and Zilong with a look of disdain. "Just you wait, in half an hour, I'll let you know the consequences of provoking this young master." Zidong shouted viciously. "Did you just bark again?" Yang Kai looked at him mockingly. Zidong fumed and was about to say something more, but Zilong glared at him and said flatly, "Why waste time arguing with him? In half an hour, he'll be dead. Is there any reason to speak so much with a dead person?" Zidong's heart clenched as he realized his father was a little dissatisfied with his performance. Humbling accepting his lesson, Zidong nodded, and although he no longer spoke to Yang Kai, his expression only became more sullen. Obviously, he was concocting how to shame Yang Kai after half an hour was up. Ha 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 ha. On the other side, Zhu Wei laughed loudly and clapped, "Interesting, interesting, really interesting. Kid, you're too amusing. This old master has suddenly become interested in you." He had been standing nearby, watching silently as Yang Kai unscrupulously offended both Zilong and Zidong. Seeing such a display of recklessness, Zhu Wei could not help feeling Yang Kai wasn't quite right in the head. Didn't this boy know he would definitely die after the seven-colored radiant light retreated? And judging from how this kid had provoked Zilong, the latter would definitely not make his death quick. This brat was simply looking for trouble at this point. If he could choke down his anger and then flee the instant the seven-colored radiant light retreated, he might still have been able to survive, but now. Zhu Wei looked at Yang Kai as if he was looking at a dead person. "How about it, boy? Are you interested in joining hands with this old master?" Zhu Wei smiled and suggested. Cooperate with you. Yang Kai looked at Zhu Wei and curled his lips into a grin. Not interested. This young master hasn't forgotten what happened between us before. Kid, you'd best speak more politely. Zhu Wei's expression became cold when he heard Yang Kai refer to himself as young master. In front of him, it was nothing short of an insult. Is there a need to be polite with someone like you? Yang Kai sneered. Seeing that Yang Kai and Zhu Wei also had friction between him, Zidong suddenly snickered. At this moment, he also felt that Yang Kai's head was messed up. Among the three parties present, Yang Kai had the lowest strength, but instead of trying to keep a low profile and concealing his abilities, he openly acted defiantly and extremely arrogantly. After offending one party, he chose to offend the other as well. It was nothing less than courting death. How had a person with such poor judgment managed to cultivate to the third order origin returning realm? Elder Zhu, this kid seems to be looking down on you, Zidong sneered and provoked discord. Zhu Wei frowned and ignored Zidong's provocations. After all, Zilong's existence put a great deal of pressure on him and he did not want to snap back at Zidong lest it cause him further trouble. Moreover, if he wanted to obtain the Enlightenment flowers later, his personal strength definitely would not suffice. Although Yang Kai seemed like a fool, it was a fact that he had resolved Zilong's attack just now, so there was no question about his strength. Perhaps there was a chance this boy could stall Zilong, even if just for a moment, which would give Zhu Wei an opening to snatch the Enlightenment flowers and immediately escape. He could not beat Zilong, but there shouldn't be any problem with just running away. It's fine, this old master won't lower himself to deal with you. Zhu Wei waved his hand magnanimously as he continued to look at Yang Kai. Actually, this old master didn't have much of a grievance with you. Everything before was just a small misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? Yang Kai chuckled lightly, then the misunderstanding must have been quite big. Zhu Wei frowned and said sincerely, boy, in this place, people die all the time, that's only normal. This old master was indeed in the wrong though, so if you insist on pursuing the matter, this old master can compensate you. Mentioning this in passing, Zhu Wei didn't explain how he would compensate Yang Kai before continuing, but let us not mention this for now. This old master wants to cooperate with you. What do you think? Cooperate how? Yang Kai asked casually while refining the medicinal efficacies in his body. Simple, you and I join forces to exchange moves with this pair from Purple Star. You should know how precious these Enlightenment flowers are, and if you and I don't join forces, neither of us will obtain any of them, Zhu Wei said solemnly. Yang Kai raised his brow but did not answer immediately, as if he was considering this proposal. On the other side though, Zilong's eyes flashed as he stared at Zhu Wei faintly and said, Zhu Wei, you're far too presumptuous. Do you really think you can snatch these Enlightenment flowers from this king's hand just by joining forces with this boy? Zhu Wei laughed. Whether I can snatch them or not, you'll have to wait and find out. There are 5 Enlightenment flowers right in front of us, and this Zhu does not want to miss out on them. These are treasures this Zhu is willing to risk his life to obtain. In that case, this king will wait and see if you and this little brat can achieve what you want. Zilong's expression remained indifferent, and after speaking, he closed his eyes lightly. Kid, have you considered it clearly? Zhu Wei urged Yang Kai, take a look around. There are many spirit flowers and grasses here. Besides the Enlightenment flowers, there are also some stalks of heavenly infant grass. Do you know how precious heavenly infant grass is? It is a main ingredient in the Origin King pill. If you can obtain such a pill, breaking through to the Origin King realm in the future will be assured. There are also several seeking heart lotus over there. These are treasures that can discipline one's state of mind. You being able to have such achievements at such a young age must mean you need to temper your mind. The seeking heart lotus are perfectly suited to you. If we can succeed later, this old master only wants those Enlightenment flowers, everything else is yours for the taking. Is this old master's sincerity enough for you? It's enough. Yang Kai nodded. Then you agree? Zhu Wei smiled. Yang Kai shook his head. Zhu Wei's face sank as he shouted angrily, brat, are you mocking me? Yang Kai snickered, old dog, do you think this young master is a fool? You offer nothing but a few honeyed words and expect me to work to the death for you. Are you stupid? This young master has never met such an idiot before. Saying so, Yang Kai simply shook his head and sighed, looking distressed. After being scolded by Yang Kai, Zhu Wei's face became gloomy to the extreme and his eyes burned with anger. At this moment, he was not any different from Zidong, wishing he could rush out to beat Yang Kai to a pulp to relieve his hatred. Now it was Zidong's turn to laugh. Elder Zhu, this boy is clearly messed up in the head, you'd be better off not wasting your breath on him. Is barking all you can do? Yang Kai turned his head to stare at Zidong again, flicking his poisonous tongue freely, a toothless dog that can only run its mouth and can't even remember when it's taught a lesson. If I were your father, I'd have choked you to death the moment you were born, but it seems your father must be just as stupid if he sired such an idiot son.